Every now and then, a survival horror game speaks to you. Sort of like the voice in your attic that refuses to stop whispering. It speaks to you whether you like it or not.
Merciful God, you have sent me an apostle.
When a game compels you in that way, you keep going with it, even though every instinct in your body is screaming at you to drop the controller and run away. And afterwards, it sticks in your brain forever. A kind of evil resident, if you will. Here's a list of all the games we're still sharing a skull with today.
You killed that guy!
Because he was going to kill me, you saved my life. This is about survival. Do you understand?
Unlike some of its sequels, Resident Evil hasn't yet made a modern remake. Perhaps that's for the best. The high-definition version you'll find on Steam and today's consoles preserve the suffocating atmosphere of the original. The sense you're trapped in a maze-like mansion with zombies for company. That sense is reinforced by some claustrophobic design decisions. One is the cramped inventory that forces you to select items with care when stepping out of a safe room. Another is a save system that pulls from a limited pool of resources. And finally, there's the infamous shooting, which forces you to stand still when you open fire. All of that induces a true sense of rising panic, a world away from the conveniences of modern action games.
Barry.
Oh, Jill. Got any good news?
Other than I'm still alive in this madhouse? No.
That said, more recent games have gone back to the well of Resident Evil and drunk from the same dark water. In 2014, Creative Assembly put out Alien Isolation. Aesthetically, it's a dead ringer for Ridley Scott's movie, from the throat-like corridors to the crackling cathode ray tube computers. But the tension is heightened by a limited save system. While creeping around the Sevastopol space station, you can only save your progress at emergency phone booths. The process isn't instant either, leaving you exposed to attacks from the xenomorph while you stand out in the open. It's the cornerstone of a stealth game that ratchets up fear like no other. We never did get an Alien Isolation 2, but eventually a worthy follow-up arrived in the form of Amnesia: The Bunker. This resource-strapped FPS plunges you into the darkness of a military tunnel system during the First World War, and blocks the exit. What limited space you have is shared with an unnamed monster that watches and listens for your mistakes. Light a fire or bash down a door with a brick and it'll come running. A fact you can use to set traps or distractions if you're clever. But don't ever underestimate the intelligence of the beast. As with the xenomorph, it's proactive about hunting you down. And here, there's only one save point: the lantern that casts long shadows in your safe room. Follow the series back to its root, and you'll find that Amnesia was at the very beginning of the indie horror boom. If it wasn't for screaming over videos of the Dark Descent, PewDiePie might never have been famous. YouTube would just be a place where you look up guides to fixing your own toilet. Yet Amnesia: The Dark Descent is a very different game to The Bunker. Here, you don't get access to a shotgun or any way to defend yourself against the misshapen monsters who pursue you through the corridors of a creepy castle. Instead, you can only run and slam the door behind you. These heightened incidents are the backdrop to a gothic story that recalls Mary Shelley and Edgar Allan Poe. And if you want to ensure you'll hear the monster before it hears you, then be sure to grab a pair of our Astro A50Xs, our Lightspeed wireless gaming headset that enables the highest levels of wireless audio performance.
I have tried everything and there is no way to fight back. You need to escape it as long as you can. Redeem us both, Daniel.
Despite the name, the lessons of Amnesia haven't been forgotten. Just a few years later, developer Red Barrels released Outlast. It's another first-person stealth game about hiding from your enemies that you can't kill. This one stood out by leaning into the look of found footage horror films. Since the asylum you're exploring in the name of journalism is pitch black, you need the night vision mode of your camera to find a way through. Unfortunately, the high contrast and unnatural colours only make the residents more frightening. It's no wonder that Outlast remains incredibly influential to this day.
Little pig.
Even now though, there are games that achieve excellence by harking back to the earliest examples of the genre. Signalis is a tribute to the PlayStation horror classics of the late 90s. While it stops short of recreating Resident Evil tank controls, it does embrace the spiky, wobbly weirdness of early PlayStation graphics. Although you have access to guns, every encounter with a monster feels like it might be your last. This throwback feel is fitting for a science fiction game about a future that still leans on VHS tapes and floppy disks. There's more than a little of alien isolation in the chunky interfaces too, and Signalis is just as unsettling. One of those chief 90s inspirations is, of course, Silent Hill. It's a series that peaked back then and hasn't been successfully rebooted since.
Are you confusing me with someone else?
As such, you're best returning to Silent Hill 2 for a proper experience of the foggiest town in America. The hero, James, is there to meet his wife. Problem is, she's been dead for 3 years, and his journey only gets more unnerving from there. The static on your radio lets you know when a monster is close.
This thing broken?
But thanks to the fog, you'll have absolutely no idea what direction it's coming from. Best of luck with that, and with the dead wife thing as well.
It's too bad we have to leave. Please promise you'll take me again, James.
Alan Wake knows a thing or two about searching for missing wives in spooky small towns, but we suggest you skip his first adventure in Bright Falls and head straight for the fantastic sequel. There you'll be looking into a series of ritualistic murders as FBI agent Saga.
Saga Anderson. I'll be leading this case.
Before long, the protagonist of the title shows up after a 13-year absence. And once Alan gets involved, you start to spend more and more of your time in the dark place dimension. It's about as disturbing as the name suggests. In between the desperate boss battles, you're left to jump at shadows and mentally unravel alongside Alan. Madness loves company.
I've been trying to find a way to escape the dark place. Any suggestions?
He who mouths about his troubles is the prisoner of his troubles.
If you're hearing my voice, then good news, you've survived. Long enough to download one of the games we've recommended anyway. After that, you're on your own. Should you make it throughout the night, however, make sure to come back to the Logitech G channel for more gaming advice.
I like the buddy system we have here.
I see. Thanks, I'll take it.
See you later.
Ciao.